inside TD Place for the regular season finale as Ottawa Fury FC welcomes the Charleston Battery. A crisp afternoon here in the nation's capital, Gordon. While I'm sure there's some nerves for fans and players alike, as media, this is what you want. You want a game at this time of the year that has so much meaning. The playoff picture still not fully formed in the USL, and for Ottawa Fury FC, it's 3 points or bust here this afternoon, and even then, they still have to wait to see what happens tonight and perhaps even into tomorrow to determine if this team is going to the postseason or not.
I suppose if you're the USL schedule maker, when you set this up at the end of the season, that you still have 3 teams, technically 4 teams still in with a shout of making the playoffs. It's going to be a real reach for North Carolina to get in there. There's going to have to be a real domino effect for them to make their way into it. But the fact of the matter is, it's fairly straightforward for the Ottawa Fury. You have to win and pick up all 3 points today. Anything less, you're on the outside looking in.
The only way for Ottawa Fury FC to win, of course, is to score, and something they've struggled with at parts this season, and one man who will look to shut them down here this afternoon. The guy's wearing the captain's armband for the Charleston Battery, Nabil Hackshaw. This guy, 6'1", 190 pounds. He's got a big frame and a big responsibility here this afternoon. Our player to watch for the Battery. Yeah,
lots of experience, international experience, different levels. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a case where if he's able to contain the lads up front for the Fury here this afternoon, it will go a long way to determining whether Ottawa gets in or not.
And the player to watch for Ottawa Fury FC, the man who's certainly going to be tasked with making sure that they can punch their ticket to the postseason, and that's Steven DeSantos. Tied for the leading scorer this season on the team, was the leading scorer last year. They need a big afternoon from the big man up top. Yeah,
I think the fact that we've only scored 5 goals as your leading goal scorer sort of tells you how the season for the Ottawa Fury has gone. Great defensively. Crepeau's obviously set the record with regards to shutouts, but it's up front where the problem lies. And in a one-off game, Graham, where you have to score at least 1 goal to have any chance to get into the playoffs, a lot of the onus will fall on the shoulders of Steven DeSantos.
All right, we'll take a quick break and we'll have the kickoff of the regular season finale back here at TD Place just after this. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
Did you know the Brick is 100% proudly Canadian? We employ over 5,000 Canadians, and nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. Saving you more. It's not just a slogan. Saving you more is our obsession.
Gabriel Pizza, proud supporter of local sports. Gabriel Pizza, home of the bigger, better pizza. 310-7777 or GabrielPizza.com.
What do you live for? Is it for your crew? For overcoming obstacles? Live for what you want. So what do you live for?
Hey, Impreza. What's new?
Well, I've got this available reverse automatic braking feature.
Oh.
When I reverse, I can automatically brake if I'm about to hit something.
All I do is beep.
Subaru
Beep.
Impreza.
Beep. Ouch.
Welcome back inside TD Place. Opening kickoff set to get underway between the Charleston Battery and Ottawa Fury FC. Before we get to the opening kickoff, let's have a look at the starting 11 brought to you by Gabriel Pizza, Ottawa's bigger, better pizza. And we'll start with the visiting Charleston Battery, and Robert Beebe gets the start in goal. First start of the season for Beebe. Previously been with the Charleston Battery, spent the last couple of seasons in Finland. Neville Hackshaw, Skylar Thomas, the Canadian, and former Fury defender O'Brien Woodbine across the back. Jay Bolt, Angelo Kelly Rosales, Vincenzo Candela, and Nicholas Rittmeyer across the midfield. Ian Svensson, the 6'6" forward, Victor Mansoret, and Gordon Wild, the three up top for the Charleston Battery. As we have a look at Ottawa Fury FC, the USL shutout leader Maxime Crépeau gets the start in goal with David Edgar away. The back four looks like Eddie Edward, Ono Obasi, Thomas Mayer-Giguère, and Captain Carl Howarth. Jeremy Gagnon-Laparé, Christian Portilla, Chris Manila across the midfield. Azake Luboyera gets the start up top. Steven DeSantos in the middle, Tony Taylor alongside him as we are underway here at TD Place. The regular season finale for both these sides, and lots to be played for the home side. It's all set and locked for the Charleston Battery. They will finish fourth in the USL Eastern Conference. Yet again, this team just has that ability to find those top four finishes. And just, again, tremendous work by Mike Anhauser, who has been with this organization, Gord, 13 years now as head coach. Started with in 2005. Joined the coaching staff in 2003 as an assistant for a couple of years, but had been a player with them since 1994. So you think how long this guy has been committed to the yellow and black of the Charleston Battery. So continues to produce results with this side. Skylar Thomas, the Canadian, former first-round draft pick in the MLS Super Draft of Toronto FC. Went to school at Syracuse University. Eddie Edwards finds Christian Portilla. He'll play that all the way back to Maxime Crépeau under pressure from Svensson.
Well, of course, Graham, the big shift right now for the Ottawa Fury. We know Edgar's gone with the national team. Jimmy Sanon's obviously gone with the national team for Haiti as well, so he won't be coming off the bench. But Obasi has slipped in, as we saw off the top of the broadcast, into that left stopper position alongside Mayer-Giguère, who's moved over to the right side. So a little bit of a shuffle in the centre of the defence. Your two fullbacks, obviously Carl Haworth and Eddie Edward, will be asked to get forward into wide positions here this afternoon, into midfield, to help offer a little bit of support. And there's a bit of a discussion all week whether Adonijah Reid or Luboyera would get that starting spot wide on the left. Coach has gone with Luboyera, as you mentioned. He had a decent game for me against the last time we saw them a couple of weeks ago, before getting taken off midway through the second half, and he's been rewarded with another starting spot this afternoon.
Hackshaw with the delivery, looking for Svensson. Maxime Crépeau easily collects that one against the 6'6" Battery striker. And you mentioned Adonijah Reid, of course, this week named to the USL 20 under 20, number 8 on that list. And we've seen great things from Adonijah Reid as his development continues here in the nation's capital. Laparé back for Chris Manella. Ono Obasi quickly to Christian Portilla. Thomas Mayer-Giguère plays that one over the top. Off the head of Neville Hackshaw, but foul called there against Tony Taylor, so they'll reset.
And just a point, Graham, we did off the top of the show mention about the player to watch for the Ottawa Fury, but I've got to be honest with you, every single player out there in a red and black shirt is a player to watch this afternoon, because there's no tomorrow. I mean, you can throw out all the cliches all you want, Graham, but the fact of the matter is you have to pick up a win today. A draw does you absolutely no good. Forget about all the other permutations and calculations. Unless the Fury pick up these 3 points, it doesn't do any difference what happens down in Nashville or what happens in Bethlehem, simply because those two teams more than likely will finish as 7 and 8. So whether it's on set plays, whether it's on counter-attacks from wide positions, however you look at it, Graham, every single Fury player has to be a player to watch this afternoon.
Good stop there as Captain Carl Howarth and Chris Manila come together, and now Tony Taylor breaking down the right side has to go 1v1 against Neville Hackshaw. Taylor cutting back into the middle, looking for an option, still in possession, forced back into the midfield. Portilla to Manila. So Ottawa maintains possession inside the Charleston half. Portilla whips this one through, finds Luboyera, stays onside, brings it down. Hackshaw able to get a touch. Luboyera still in there looking for it.
Well, the ball just checked up there in the wind, didn't it, Graham? And it really sat up nicely for Luboyera, but then it was problems for him.
Carl Howarth goes through. Oh, Hackshaw almost redirects that one into his own goal, but it goes up and over the crossbar. A great delivery from the captain, Carl Howarth. And now the first set piece of the match coming here by way of the corner for Ottawa.
It really was a terrific run by Carl down that right-hand side. He was able to get beyond two defenders, Graham, and he whipped the ball into the 6-yard box. Hackshaw, that ball could have gone anywhere, in all honesty.
Portilla whips it in towards the near post. And a diving-headed clearance there. Foul called. Not sure if that was a push from behind or the boot of Meyer Giguère. Nonetheless, foul called, but Nabil Hackshaw, as I saw in the replay, I thought it went over the bar, but actually missing at the near post. But nonetheless, a good delivery from Carl Howarth, who now seems very well situated into this new position in that right back role and has looked very dangerous, if not more dangerous than we've seen him at striker this season.
I think the one thing that it does allow him to do is have the play in front of him a lot more, Graham, as opposed to having his back to a defender. When you're in a wide right position in a front three, a lot of times you are having to come back towards and you're facing your own players with your back to the defender. In this case, he's getting space ahead of him. He's able to recognise that space is there, especially if you're up against a narrow midfield three, and it's making a really big difference to how he's reading the game. And his vision and his intelligence is kicking in instinctively, Graham, and making a huge difference for him down that right-hand side.
So should also mention the substitutes here this afternoon. Taylor Mueller, Kotaro Higashi, Atula Guerra, the Trinidad and Tobago native, leads this side with 15 goals. Patrick Okonkwo, Joe Kuzminski, who's their regular starting goalkeeper, has 12 shutouts on the season. Ta'anuga and Ryan Arambula, the substitutes available for Mike Enhauser's Charleston Battery here this afternoon, as Ottawa gets it to DeSantos, and he just misses wide on that effort from about 19 yards out. Some good interplay there around the penalty area from the Fury, and Steven DeSantos lets one fly.
A pure defensive play there, though, in their own defensive third, Graham. You've got to be sharper. You've got to be a little bit more decisive, getting that ball cleared away. You surrendered it to Manila. Manila, a nice little play there. DeSantos high with the shot, but a nice early start here for the Ottawa Fury. 6.5 minutes in, they certainly know what their task is here this afternoon. Nobody is shirking away from that responsibility. Well,
and you might actually see some errors from the Charleston Battery here this afternoon, because only 3 regulars in the starting lineup, 2 of the key ones being Nabil Hackshaw and Skylar Thomas in that defensive role. But then you also have Nicholas Rittmeyer, 4 goals this season. Now, he's played in a majority of the games, but he's more of kind of like that first sub for the Charleston Battery. So he started about half of the games that he's appeared in this year.
And that was something that we talked, obviously before we got to the stadium here today during the week, was the fact that, Charleston being locked in, Graham. Just wait till this play breaks down. A nice defensive play. Charleston being locked in, Graham, there was really no incentive for them to come up here and go hell for leather with a full squad. They've got an important playoff game now coming up very shortly, still to be determined who they're playing, right enough, but there's no need for them to come in. They just want to come and get the job done with regards to finish your regular season, move on, and who might you end up playing for that first playoff round? Is it going to be Indy 11? We'll have to wait and see.
Hell for leather?
Yeah.
That's a new one. I like it.
Google's your friend.
He's bringing them all out today.
Google is your friend.
The substitutes for Ottawa Fury FC: Adonijah Reed, Jamar Dixon, David Monsalve, Sergio Minicio, Daniel Haber, Clement Bahia, and Gabriel Balbinotti. The officials this afternoon here: Yusri Rudolph in the center, Phil Briere, Sean Hornsby, the 2 linesmen, and Matt Soare, the 4th official. 9th minute, remains 0-0 here at TD Place. Ottawa with 2 good chances early. An almost own goal from Nabil Hackshaw off a delivery from Carl Howarth. And about 2 minutes later, the opportunity from Steven DeSantos as he missed wide on his effort from just outside the penalty area.
Well, I think one of the things that we are going to be interested to keep an eye on this afternoon, Graham, is that the Fury are playing with a front three, but the two wide players are really out close to the touchline when they're attacking. Obviously, Charleston are playing with a back three with two holding midfielders sitting in front of them. The fourth defender seems to be dropping back on that left side. I think it's number 14 when he gets a chance on that. Is it? No, not number 14. Just try to see who it is. The chap playing at left back, but a couple of times he does seem to drop in. Jay Bolt, yeah, sorry. And at times it does become a back four, but I think, you know, the captain's just pushing him up there a little bit. He says, we want you up more of a wing back if we can, get into that 3-4-3 shape. And I think that'll be very interesting as to how these two threes play against each other. Fury obviously want to try and stretch that back three as wide as they can and maybe create some midfield gaps coming through for Gagnon Lapere as he makes a late run, possibly Portilla or Manella as well.
Jay Bolt is no relation at all to Usain Bolt, who is now a scoring master at the professional level.
I saw his first goal, actually. It wasn't a bad effort.
Left footer, though, come on.
I thought the goalie was a bit poor at the front post, right enough, but doesn't matter. You know, it's all about...
Jamaica calls him up and caps him, right? Like,
you imagine him scoring the winning goal in the Gold Cup final, Ed? That country will just get into meltdown.
Listen, that's super sub like qualities right there.
Oh, that was tight. That was very, very tight. I thought the right back here, or the right stopper, was playing him just a slight pat onside, but the official on the far side.
All right, let's have a look at our three keys to a Fury victory here this afternoon. Gord?
Well, key number one, it's about starting strong and finishing stronger, Graham. You have to have a full 90 minutes from this Ottawa Fury team. They can't get their noses in front only to relax and fall asleep at the switch late in the game and allow Charleston to get back in, possibly with a tying goal, to kill off their playoff hopes here this afternoon. Key number two, must convert chances, don't you? I mean, we've seen it all season, Graham. A lot of times you dominate possession, a lot of times you dominate the attacking third, but the chances you're creating are just not being converted, and that's worked against them so far as we head into, you know, as we like to say, the biggest game of their season. Key number three, we've been saying that the entire match so far. It is a must-win game, however you look at it, but I think it's got to be must-win, not totally reckless though, Graham. They just can't go after it. You keep your shape, keep your tactics going, keep your system going, and if you get inside these last 5-10 minutes and you're down a goal, you're tied and you still need that extra goal, then you start pushing the buttons. You maybe bring on an extra striker. Who knows, we could end up with 4 or 5 strikers on the park here this afternoon.
In fairness to Ottawa this year and throughout kind of the trials and tribulations of the season that's been, you've never really seen this team play reckless at any point.
Exactly.
You've seen parts, especially over the last 6 weeks, where there's a bit more desperation in the game, just knowing full well that you can't really go further behind the 8 ball. You can't afford to, anyways. But you haven't seen any recklessness from them, and I think that speaks to the maturity, not just of the veteran players, but some of the young players in this squad as well.
I think you mentioned a key word there, desperation, and at some point it will have to kick in here this afternoon. We're all hoping that it's a comfortable 3-0 win for the Ottawa Fury, and we can all look forward to that Nashville-Cincinnati game tonight and then the Bethlehem-Tampa Bay game tomorrow. But
well, look, a win here today. And
oh,
what an effort! Oh, a stunning finish. And the Charleston Battery have opened the scoring here in the 14th minute.
What?
And I think that was Gordon Wild who...
Absolute stunner, Graham. I mean, that ball fell to him very nicely. At this point, it's headed out, not the best of headers, off the chest. Second touch, bang, into the roof of the net.
Goodness.
And what a strike that was to open the scoring here this afternoon. Gordon Wild with a goal in the 14th minute, has just completely stunned this Ottawa Fury fan base here this afternoon. But you know what, Graham, we've seen some really stunning goals here at TD Place in 2018. Obviously thinking back to Walker of Cincinnati when he scored that cracker himself. But my goodness, what a hit that was. An absolute rocket. Maxime Crépeau, one of the best goalkeepers, not only in the USL, Graham, but for my money in North America. All he could do was just flap at it as that just rifled into the top of the net.
Sixth goal of the season for the German striker, and an important goal for the Charleston Battery. At the end of the day, I don't think it overly changes much for Ottawa, at least now that you have to score two, because coming into today, you knew you had to score because you have to win. Now it just makes the work effort offensively a little bit stronger.
And it just came totally out of the blue. I mean, I think it's one of the first times that Charleston has been in the attacking third with real purpose. I mean, obviously the first ball went into Wild. He tried to knock it into the penalty box. It wasn't the best of defensive headers away from Abassi. And when it fell to Wild, lovely first touch. And that second touch was as sweet as you're going to see all year.
Now, the one thing that it does change is you can ill afford to concede a second goal, so they will have to remain staunch in their defensive play. And certainly has been, you know, the trademark, I think, of this team over the 2018 campaign, because I think, look, 41 goals against through, well, this now 42 through what is your 34th game.
Yes.
It's not bad, and if you take out probably 6 games where you got taken to the woodshed, at least, you know, 3 or 4 of them. You know, you get rid of that one game, well, probably 2 games against Cincinnati, that horrific game against the Tampa Bay Rowdies, second game of the year where you lose 5-0. You take out, you know, 4 or 5 of those games. Well, now this is a team that concedes a goal like one every 2.5 games, 3 games. So for the most part, defensively, they've been quite sound, but it's what's going to either send them to the playoffs or send them home early is the offense.
Well, you know, we did talk at the top about there not being an awful lot of incentive for Charleston, but when you look at their last couple of results, it was 2 losses now, and the last thing you want heading into the playoff run is to have a third loss on your hands, and they've started off, I think, you know, they allowed Ottawa a little bit too much possession in the attacking third off the top, but they've just slowly tried to, okay, we're just going to settle things down, and we've now got that goal. What can you do? You just got to consolidate. I think we're even going to see them dropping back a little bit deeper. The 2 lads that are playing as a holding midfielder, I think we're going to just see them drop a little bit deeper and make it virtually impossible for Gagnon Laparé to maybe find that little pocket of space between the bank of 3 and the bank of 2 in front of him, and really force the Fury to get wide on them. And if they can bring Lubiera and Taylor into the play, I think that might create a little bit of space for Dos Santos down the middle of the park.
Just a bit on Wild. He's from Leonberg, Germany. He was drafted by Atlanta United in the second round of the 2018 MLS Super Draft. So just this past year, he is a Generation Adidas player who spent 3 years split between USC Upstate and the University of Maryland. So this is a key player, I think, not just for Charleston, but looking further ahead to Atlanta, who, yes, Atlanta has Atlanta United, but a long-standing relationship, at least since they've joined the MLS ranks with the Charleston Battery.
And of course, obviously, there is some Charleston connections with regards to the Ottawa Fury themselves. Nicky Patterson, who was one of the first players that came here to Ottawa, he was part of Charleston.
Falls to Gagnon Laparé. And Beebe had to be quick off his line as it fell loose in the 6-yard box. He was able to get a poke to it, but couldn't get much on it. And now Hawkshaw tried to lead the rush down the left side, but too far ahead for Sven Tessen.
Well, another decent effort there it was by Ottawa. Good chance. That's I make 3 now inside 18 minutes, Graham, that they have seen the white posts of the goal and just been unable to get the ball into the back of the net. But I think the last thing they can do is afford to just let the heads drop. I mean, and that won't happen. You know, certainly Popovich isn't going to let them feel sorry for themselves. Yes, you conceded a wonder goal in the 14th minute, but as you said, 2 goals, you needed 1 for sure. You just wonder, and the bigger picture is, and we talked about it all week, and the teams talked about it all week, this team has had to play their last 3 games without 2 of their talisman players, Graham. over the course of these final games in the run-in. Kevin Oliveira and Nana Takora, lads that will be out there this afternoon. And I think that's you know, it is going to be difficult against a team that's finished in the top 4 to make sure that you get your result here this afternoon. But when you also add in the fact that you've got 1 or 2 other lads that are out as well, we've got Jimmy Sonon's away, Edgar's away. I mean, it's a really big ask, even though you're at home against a team that you've had somewhat success with a couple of draws, I think. It's a situation where you've really got to take those chances, and as we said with one of our keys, you've got to start burying them at some point, irrespective of how many Charleston score. You've got to go one better.
Regardless of what happens today, you know, I think there's not a player that isn't available to this team today that I think solves the offensive woes that we've seen from game 1 through to game 34 this year.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one thing that will most certainly be addressed in the offseason heading into the 2019 campaign. Because yes, it would have been great to have Atakora from the start to shore things up defensively, but I think they still did that even in his absence when Daniil Henry came in briefly, and he's the reason I think why Thomas Meyer-Giguère kind of found his form and has grown into the young player that we've seen develop before us this season. And you know, I think Tissot would have certainly helped in your midfield, and you know, if Salazar, maybe Shamit Shom hadn't been recalled back to the Impact, but those are factors I think that every team faces throughout the year. And it's just trying to solve for the one thing that has plagued you throughout the entire season. And the good news is it's something that you can fix. If you can't fix it systematically, which hasn't seemed to have been able to been corrected, you can fix it with personnel. Yeah. And that's not a mark on anybody who's here right now, but just to say there's certainly players that you look throughout the course of the league and elsewhere we've seen players come in to this organization and others. You've never heard of them before, but you certainly hear their name when they start scoring.
Well, when you look at some of the teams out there, and we've got a lad on the bench here this afternoon for Charleston, Guerra, that scored 15 goals. If the Ottawa Fury, I don't think it's a big stretch to say, Graham, that if the Ottawa Fury had a 15-goal scorer in their lineup, we're not in this position we are in here this afternoon. We're probably looking at we're fighting in this game against Charleston maybe for a 4th or a 5th position in the standings. But for many stretch of games, for long periods of the season, you were going games without scoring a goal. And that's just not good enough when you are trying to force yourself into a top 8 spot. Yes, we know how poor the start was. Yes, we know how difficult it is for Ottawa having to go on the road at the start of every season and play tough games. Especially this year, again, you were a new team, you were gelling, you were trying to get a new coach system and tactics all down. It just worked against you. And I think since those first number of games, they've been one of the top point-getting teams. Well, okay, let's take Cincinnati out of the equation with regards to the Eastern Conference. So, yes, you're right, it can be fixed. The one concern that you may have is the number of loan players that you've got here, Graham, that will at some point possibly be recalled and go back to their parent clubs. Hopefully, we will get a chance to see a lot of them or a few of them back here again, but it's all about their own future and their own development. Have their parent clubs looked at it and says, you know what, I think he's developed enough at the USL level. We need to bring him back into our fold and go from there.
Well, and that's a very good point, and I'm sure, you know, the Montreal Impact this season certainly pleased with the development of 2 of their young players, in Maxime Crépeau and Thomas Meyer-Giguère.
Yes.
Is Meyer-Giguère ready? Is there a spot for him with that side at the MLS ranks just yet? Not too sure. Crépeau, depends what they decide to do with their goaltending situation. Not sure if that would happen, certainly for next year, but if remains that outlet to say, look, you're going to play in Ottawa, you're an everyday starter, look at what you did from, you know, game 1 of 2018 through to today. You certainly have to be impressed with the development. And for me, those are the 2 players that, if you're talking who's the MVP of Ottawa Fury FC in 2018, regardless of whether you're in or out of the playoffs, it's Maxime Crépeau and Thomas Meyer-Giguère.
Yeah, and I'd maybe a bit of a
off the crossbar, another wild whip in from Christian Portilla. His 2 goals this season have both come from the corner flag, and that one was almost number 3.
Just getting back to your point there about the MVP, I'd possibly throw Oliveira's name into the hat as well, Graham, but You know, I think a lot of times when you look at such a defensive record that you've set here, you have to look at the lads in front of you as well as the goalkeeper, and I certainly won't disagree with the performance that Mayer Jaguar has put in here in 2018, but I honestly can't see how you get beyond the man with a pair of gloves right now in goal for the Ottawa Fury. That young man has been absolutely outstanding here in 2018, Graham. He's won points for his team where they had no right to. He's made saves where he had no right to make the saves. He's so commanding inside that 18-yard box. As a goalkeeper, that's what you have to do. You have to make sure that the lads in front of you know exactly what you're going to be doing. You're coming for every single ball that's between the penalty spot and your goal line, and he's done that in spades here in 2018.
Portilla, who almost leveled things up for Ottawa there moments ago, finding the crossbar directly from the corner.
Yeah, it was just surrendered far too cheaply there, possession.
Eddie Edwards steps up, wins the ball for Ottawa. He goes down. I cannot believe that. Immediately waved off by Yusri Rudolph right on the edge of the 18-yard box. Certainly free kick worthy. Play carries on, much to the chagrin of both head coach Nikola Popovic and those in attendance here at TD Place this afternoon. Nabil Hackshaw now finds the goal scorer Gordon Wild, back to Hackshaw. Hackshaw cuts inside, good timely block from Ottawa Obasi. Work still to be done by Ottawa here. Eddie Edward gets on that one, and that one cleared away by Gagnon Laparé out for a corner.
Well, here's this last one there, and if you know what, if the referee deems that to be not contact, then he obviously has to make the assumption that it's a dive by Eddie Edward. But there certainly was contact there. We saw it in that second clip. Terrific camera work there by the lads around us. But my goodness, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, a lot of times, if he's waving it off, Graham, he's seen no contact. Well, being 5-10 yards away, there certainly was contact there.
Well, and he's having a lengthy conversation, that is Yusri Rudolph, with Fury captain Carl Howarth, who had a moment to vent his frustrations to the head official here this afternoon. Missed call there, but now opportunity for Charleston on the corner, and that one will go out for a goal kick after it was redirected just outside the 6-yard box and out the far side.
Yeah, you know,
of Maxime Crepeau.
You've just got to shake it off, Graham. A good header at that front 6-yard area. No one at the back post to keep it alive for Charleston, but you've just got to shake it off if you're a Fury player. Yes, you may feel slightly aggrieved that you didn't get the free kick. I don't think it was in the box enough for a penalty, but you may have gotten the free kick with a good spot for Carl Howarth to maybe work a little bit of magic.
For sure not a penalty, but certainly a free kick. But nonetheless, Tony Taylor to the captain, Carl Howarth. Trying to juke his man there, goes back to Gagnon Laparé again, returns it to the captain, Carl Howarth. Trying to find some space around Bolt. There's a shot from distance, and that one forces a save from Beebe to knock it out for the third corner of the match for Ottawa. A great effort from distance.
Oh, he just put his foot right through it, didn't he, Graham? All 30 yards. A terrific drive. It may just have been sneaking inside that post, but a terrific save by Beebe going to his left.
Portilla again delivers it in. That one punched away by Beebe for now the fourth corner of the match for Ottawa. And Christian Portilla continues to give goalkeepers fits with that delivery, his ability to whip it in, and all those bodies typically at the front post, although going with something different here. That one headed away by Jay Bolt. That one out for a throw-in. '29th minute here at TD Place, remains 1-0 for the Charleston Battery on that goal in the 14th minute by Gordon Wild. That one up in the air. Dos Santos goes up for the header, but BB comes down with it.
Yeah, good goalkeeping. Obviously came a long way, getting a good 8, 9, 10 yards off his line to make sure he took that at the second attempt after Dos Santos had flipped it on in the front post area. But, well, a good pushback by the Ottawa Fury since going down behind in the 14th minute, Graham. They've had, I mean, it must seem like 4 or 5 chances now in this first half alone where really it could have been 1-0 for them, or at least 1-1 midway through this first half.
Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit www.selectsportamerica.com and receive free shipping on orders over $50. And don't forget to visit the USL official Twitter feed. Keeps you up to date with news, live game updates, highlights from around the league 24/7. Follow at USL on Twitter.
Well, we had that wood there, Graham. Carl Haworth made a really nice run, and we tried to play a difficult ball backwards. And I think we keep that momentum going. Carl's making some really good runs down the right-hand side, good supporting runs. That service has to get out there.
Skylar Thomas now inside the Ottawa half. Looking forward to the goal scorer, Gordon Wild. Portilla dispossesses him. But Charleston win it back, albeit momentarily. Rittmeyer plays it back, and Angelo Kelly wins the foul there. That draws some boos from the crowd. Well, if that's a foul, you wonder how the Edward one wasn't, but
a dangerous opportunity again, the big lad coming up from the back.
Wild delivers this one in right to the boot of Christian Portilla, who promptly clears that one into touch at midfield.
Well, you talked about Charleston, Graham, being locked in at number 4. Right behind them, there's 2 teams tied at 5 and 6 in the 11 New York Red Bulls, but Nashville themselves, and I've got to be honest with you, I think Nashville have the tougher road. They may, certainly with an Ottawa draw or loss here this afternoon, get in, not a problem, but they blew an absolutely massive opportunity on Wednesday to cement a playoff spot.
Luboyera now for Ottawa off the nifty back heel from DeSantos. Plays it through the middle. Gagnon Laparé. Pressure coming to Portilla. Now back to Eddie Edward. Over to Obasi as they're back inside their own half now. Eddie Edward on the left side. Forced back to Onwo Obasi with pressure coming from Gordon Wild. Try to switch it up and go down the right side. Mayor Giguère finds Carl Haworth. Second minute, 1-0 the Charleston Battery leading Ottawa Fury FC regular season finale. And it's regular season finale weekend across the USL with teams playing today, tonight, tomorrow, and that will close things out with the playoffs opening up next weekend.
Yeah, that big game for Nashville at 8:30 tonight against Cincinnati, a team that's been, for my money, the class, well, certainly the class of the Eastern Conference this season. An opportunity to really go down as one of the top teams ever in USL regular season, and quality throughout that lineup from front to back, Graham, and we saw them when they came here. I mean, you know, for 60 minutes I thought the Fury played them extremely well, and all of a sudden bang, 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 I think it was 3 goals within the space of about 10 minutes. It just completely turned the game on its head, and that's the type of firepower that a team like Cincinnati has. They can score goals, they're able to hit on the counter-attack, but they're a very, very tough team to try and to take 3 points off. And certainly Nashville, a draw might be enough for them tonight. A draw probably will be enough for them tonight, but based on their performance Wednesday against Toronto FC, when they were up 2-0 with, I think, maybe 20 minutes left to go, Graham, and they just absolutely laid an egg for that final 20 minutes. Made a couple of substitutions that maybe people might have thought, you know, okay, you're now maybe going into a little bit of a defensive, you know, almost like a prevent defense if you're talking in a football, a North American football parlance, but it doesn't matter. You still had that opportunity to book a playoff spot, and when you concede 2 goals against the bottom team in the league in your second last game of the regular season where you have a chance to get into the playoffs, there's just no excuse for that, and they really are going to be up against it against Cincinnati here tonight.
Luboyera returns it back to Laparé. 2 players converge to dispossess him, and Charleston able to clear it back inside the Ottawa half. Well defended there by Thomas Mayer Giguère to Eddie Edward. And you talk about FC Cincinnati, and you could go up and down that roster, not even just the 11, the regular 11, but through the subs bench, and you've got some class players in there. Even the former Fury captain Richie Ryan, who dealt with some different injuries this season and didn't see as much playing time as I'm sure he would have liked. But Emmanuel Ledesma, class of the league. This is a guy alongside the likes of, I think, Cameron Lancaster in Louisville, who leads the league in scoring. This guy scores, I think, 23 goals this year. He scores for fun. Those two, no question, among the best two in the league, and will be in that race for MVP. And some might argue with me, and with all due respect to the Western Conference, but I think our goalkeeper here in Ottawa, in Maxime Crépeau, should be in that conversation as well. Don't forget, setting the USL shutout record this season with 15. That one delivered into the penalty area, bobbled by Beebe. DeSantos with the acrobatic bicycle kick, and that forces Beebe to punch that one away. It will go out for a throw-in near the corner flag, but an acrobatic effort from Steven DeSantos almost levels this one for Ottawa here in the 35th minute.
It was quite the effort. He obviously set him up 3 times. The fourth one was the acrobatic kick. The goalkeeper, maybe he could have taken it a little bit easier, made it look a little bit more spectacular than he had to, but doesn't matter. He did the right thing, got it palmed away, and the Fury still trying to claw their way back into this game, down 1-0, 10 minutes left to go here in the first half.
Edward with the throw into DeSantos. Tries to return it for Luboyera. That one off the mark, but it's Van Tessen now. Tries to get things going forward for Charleston. Chance for Jay Bold. Good challenge there by Maher Giguère, but still in possession of the battery. And this time Maher Giguère comes away with it. Outlets to Gagnon Laparé. Now a foot race here for Manella against the big man in Van Tessen. Delivered in. Van Tessen gets a touch. Maher Giguère does as well. Heads that one clear and still in possession. Rittmeyer's delivery headed away by Eddie Edward and out now for the second corner of the match.
I think we're doing a decent enough job, Graham, when we do get a chance to go down wide, but I think right now we're just lacking that little bit of imagination, that little bit of creativity in the midfield third to try and spring someone forward. Full value to Charleston. They're really dropping lads back into the defensive third when they lose possession. That bank of 3, and it's now a bank of 4, is playing very, very deep.
Delivered into the near post. And a collision there between Luboyera and Crépeau. No harm done as Ottawa looks to break free. Carl Howarth to Tony Taylor. DeSantos is in space. Down the right side, Steven DeSantos has Gagnon Laparé. Overlapping run, finds Taylor on the left. Tony Taylor trying to find a way through, delivers it in. Bounces off the foot of DeSantos to Howarth! And he just misses wide. As the captain tried to pull things level with a strike off the volley, but he couldn't find the target.
Well, it just set up nicely for him, about 22 yards from goal, Graham. And he just put his foot through it, just a couple of inches wide of that right-hand post. But a nice counter-attack break by the Ottawa Fury. I thought initially Tony Taylor's ball checked up a little bit. If it had been a couple of yards in front of DeSantos, he was clean in on goal. But the ball held up. Nice thing about it was Gagnon Laparé was getting forward. Howarth was getting forward from his right back position. They were trying to commit bodies into the attacking third, really putting the Charleston back 3 under some pressure.
Chris Manella fouled just inside his own half, so Ottawa will take over on the free kick. 38th minute. Charleston with that 1-0 lead on the 14th minute goal by Gordon Wild. Watch highlights from every game of the 2018 season and stay up to date with news from across the USL at the league's official Facebook page, facebook.com/USL. And stay up to date with all of the best from social media from around the USL by watching Off the Post with Kelsey Steele every Friday evening on USL social media channels, and of course with the USL playoffs set to kick off next week as we begin the road to the 2018 USL Cup, which will air Thursday, November 8th on ESPN2 at 8 p.m. Eastern. Stay up to date with matchups, brackets, kickoff times, storylines, and more on Monday at uslsoccer.com when the playoff picture will be crystal clear, if not sooner. Manila, good effort there as he battled with Wild to win that clearance, but Skylar Thomas first on it for Charleston, plays it all the way back to Robert Beebe in the Charleston goal. Manila intercepts, finds Tony Taylor. Taylor on that right side, Howarth making a run. He'll have to deal with Naveal Hackshaw. Howarth delivers this one in off the outside of the boot and in behind the goal, out for a goal kick.
But that's what we need from Carl. You know, you've got to get down that right-hand side and offer that support. You know, activate yourself into midfield. We haven't seen an awful lot from Eddie Edward down the left-hand side, Graham. In an attacking viewpoint, he's more or less concerned about making sure that Obasi, who's not a natural centre back, has got that little bit of protection just out wide for him, and he's not being exposed. But certainly Carl's pace and his ability, 9 times out of 10 to throw in a really good ball from a wide position, needs to continue during the second half. Well, we talked about Toronto FC, you know, the game at Charleston that Nashville lost. Toronto FC defeated Charleston 2-1, and then Charleston went and lost to Atlanta United 2-1. So Charleston almost coming in the back door with regards to a playoff spot, Graham, because of results elsewhere around them. But it hasn't been the best sort of run-in. When you look, only 1 win in their last 5.
But you look what kind of came even before that. There was 1 loss, and look at just that run.
Yes.
They had lost on the 9th of June in Richmond, and then they didn't lose again until the 18th of August in Cincinnati, and then the last one, 29th of September. So 3 losses in the course of, you know, June, July, August into end of September.
Yeah.
Remarkable run.
The concern is, though, is your current form, and when you hit the playoffs, you know, and obviously we see this afternoon, there's quite a number of regulars that have been rested because you solidified a playoff spot a week or 2 ago. But I think, you know, football's all about momentum. Football's all about current situations and how your lads are playing and how well you're working together and who's on form and who's not on form. And, you know, if you go into the playoffs on the back of 2 losses and a draw, if you're able to pick up, you know, a win here this afternoon, certainly would stand you a lot better.
Gagnon Laparé tries one from distance, and he'll send that one up and over the bar. Another good effort from Ottawa here in the 42nd minute. They've certainly had their share of opportunities.
Well, there's that little pocket.
And not just from outside the box too, but we've seen plenty of penetration from inside the penalty area here this afternoon.
And that's that key area of the park I think Gagnon Laparé has to find on a regular basis. Just about 5 yards away from the back 3, but if he can get in between the midfield holding 2 as well, that's where he's going to be dangerous. That's where he may be able to A, have a shot like he just did, or B, if he can play a little ball slip through to DeSantos, Taylor, or Lubiera out wide.
When you think that Gagnon Laparé, even after the midway point of the season, joining this team and very quickly made a name for himself under head coach Nikola Popovic, just with his play, such a calming presence in that midfield, but he also has, you know, enough pace that he can get forward and control the ball, and always defensively responsible as well. As now DeSantos gets going for Ottawa, pokes it wide to Tony Taylor, able to keep it in play. Naveal Hackshaw watches him closely, back to the captain Carl Howarth. Chris Manila gives way to Thomas Mayer-Giguère. Looks down the line looking for Taylor. He'll have to contend with Hackshaw. That one looked to go out for a corner. And now a crucial set piece here coming for Ottawa in the 44th minute. And this time it'll be Carl Howarth going to the corner flag to change things up on the 5th corner of the match for Fury FC. Yeah,
the last 2 or 3 have been thrown into that front post area, curving in towards the goalkeeper. I think Charleston have dealt with it fairly well, Graham, when it's in front of the goalkeeper and not above him.
Headed away, he goes right back to Carl Howarth on the touchline. Again delivers this one in. Headed away, Lubiera gets a touch. Shouts for a foul, Lubiera still going, cuts inside. Nice touch there to DeSantos, looks for an option. DeSantos finds Howarth. First touch delivery, oh, just in behind Tony Taylor. And a foul called there, as it will come back in favor of the Charleston Battery, but some great movement there. And Azake Lubiera with A veteran's touch to find DeSantos, who outlet to Howarth. And that late deflection just upset the opportunity for Tony Taylor.
I know the play was kept alive off the corner kick, but how interesting was it that the two lads that were sitting on the 6-yard line, along with Tony Taylor, were Eddie Edward and Thomas Meyer-Giguère, obviously just trying to find that little bit of space in the 6-yard box, get away from a white shirt, and try and get the final ball put into the back of the net. As it is, we're still 1-0. We're inside the final minute of the first 45.
We do hit halftime. Following the conclusion of the opening half, we'll hear from head coach Nikola Popovic. During our halftime, we'll hear from OSEG CEO Mark Gowdy about the new Fury Family Program and their fan-first pricing that, well, will be introduced next season, but the fan-first pricing taking effect here this afternoon. So we'll hear more about that in our halftime. And, of course, have a look at the first half stats as Tony Taylor tries to change those first half stats here. Pass for Carl Howarth, intercepted by Naveal Hackshaw, who tries to make a run down the left side. Chris Manila covering for him. Gagnon Laparé comes across to make the foul. And now a dangerous opportunity in first half stoppage time here for Charleston. But really a necessary foul, I think, from Laparé.
Yeah, it was. You
he
just
got
saw
inside
him
on Manila.
You just see it there, Graham. He cuts across as he was trying to cut back towards his right. And this is a dangerous, dangerous area of the park. I mean, certainly you've got enough confidence in your goalkeeper to set his wall up well enough that that right-hand side of the goal is going to get taken care of. But we've already seen Wild's walking away there, so I don't think he's going to be involved in the free kick. But a second goal surrendered here just before half-time, Graham, would be a disaster for the Ottawa Fury.
Vincenzo Candela and the former Fury man O'Brien Woodbine standing behind this. Woodbine with delivery, but punches that one well high and even over the supporters section in behind Maxime Crépeau.
Well, it was a bit of a waste, Graham, because you brought big lads up into the box as well, so I think it'll be disappointing. The coach will be with regards to that final free kick, but it doesn't matter after 45 minutes as we see the scoreline there on the screen. Charleston 1, Ottawa 0.
We'll head down momentarily and hear from Ottawa Fury FC head coach Nikola Popovic, a presentation of Ross Video. Let's hear from Fury FC head coach Nikola Popovic on that opening 45 minutes.
Very aggressive. We are going to try to score one goal and then bring another one. Okay?
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Well, look, Gord, this is a storyline I think we've heard a lot of, and certainly the last game against Bethlehem when you're out chancing your opponent, and we're not talking 2-1, 3-1.
No, it was a lot.
This is like what 5-6-1 for Ottawa. Really not much work for Maxime Crépeau in the Ottawa goal. A sublime finish from Gordon Wild, but short of that, Ottawa has been, in enough control of this match, hitting on the counter, creating opportunities, but it's going to come down to a bit more desperation in that second half to find that not just the one, but 2 goals here this afternoon.
And that's it. Your goal was to get 1 goal more than the opposition was over 90 minutes. Now you've got to get 2 over 45, and that's going to be a really big ask for a team that struggled all season to put the ball into the back of the net.
1-0, Charleston Battery leading Ottawa Fury FC through 45 minutes here at TD Place. Stay tuned for our halftime show. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
Did you know the Brick is 100% proudly Canadian? We employ over 5,000 Canadians, and nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. Saving you more. It's not just a slogan. Saving you more is our obsession.
Hey, Preza. What's new?
Well, I've got this available reverse automatic braking feature.
Oh.
When I reverse, I can automatically brake if I'm about to hit something.
All I do is beep.
Subaru and
Beep.
Preza.
Beep. Ouch.
Gabriel Pizza, proud supporter of local sports. Gabriel Pizza, home of the bigger, better pizza. 310-7777 or GabrielPizza.com.
What do you live for? Is it for your crew? For overcoming obstacles? Live for what you want. So what do you live for?
Place, Charleston Battery leading Ottawa Fury FC by a 1-0 score. Now let's have a look at the USL goals of the week for week number 29.
Inside the 18. Instead, it's Bryant drilling it home.
My goodness, what a finish, young fella.
Delgado just dinks it back in. In the middle, the flick, it's in! It's Miguel Garduño!
Seth Kasipli, and Reno's on the board here in the 12th minute, and Seth Kasipli delivers.
Ledesma whirls his oyster. He'll curl this and put it in! Incredible! Ledesma! Here's Ina Voltsen looking for his second of the night. Thomas Ina Voltsen seals the deal for Orange County on the road in Sin City.
Our halftime time continues after this. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
Thomas Ina Voltsen looking for number 14. There it is.
Cross comes in towards the back post, and Foster Langsdorff has his 11th goal this season.
The corner of the 18. Cross comes in, and a goal for Foster Langsdorff. It's his second of the evening. Into the box, a strike, and a goal. Christian Valesky.
Guess who? Again, Valesky with his second.
Slides it across. Michael Seaton. Seaton in on goal. Michael Seaton, he's at the brace.
Ledesma right at the edge of the 18. Takes a shot, and Manu Ledesma does it again.
Now Spies gives it a go, and Spies finds the back of the net.
Game of one-upsmanship from the Indy 11 this season.
Rebound comes out, though, and it's stuck right back in. And guess who? Solomon Asante. Chance now for it. St. Louis! Long overdue goal for Corey Herzog. Here's Carl Howarth, and the shot, and it is 1-0 Ottawa Fury FC.
Here's Alizane to strike. It hits the frame of the goal and goes in.
Laid off to the path of Barry. He's onside, and he fires it home.
It'll be Gordon to strike with his right boot, hits it, and puts it in the back of the net.
To Velasquez. He'll take a crack through distance, and a goal. Chandler Hoffman redirects it for the goal.
Here's another opportunity. Dixon shot and a score.
Back to Corbin Bone. Bone inside of the 18. Buries it in the back of the net.
Still Belmar. Now into the area, Carlson Belmar. Losing his defender, Belmar. Surely, Blackwood gets the goal.
Great save by Kendall McIntosh.
Shot getting a piece of it. What a save.
Great stop by Dykstra.
Oh, what a save by Vaughn Williams.
Cardoni with an impressive save.
A brilliant save.
Welcome back inside TD Place as our halftime continues. Ottawa Fury FC trailing the Charleston Battery by a 1-0 score. We're now happy to be joined by the CEO of the Ottawa Sports and Entertainment Group, Mark Gowdy. Mark, we'll talk about the Fury a bit more throughout the interview, but
Sure.
A really big initiative that OSEG is undertaking going into the 2019 season, and fans are getting to experience it today. In this match is at the fan first pricing that sees some pretty great deals at the concession stands.
Yeah, it's been really well received so far. I think, what we want to do here is we want to grow Fury soccer, professional soccer in Ottawa, and have this place packed here over the next 10 years. So we asked our fans to help us with that. We know that the game day experience here is really well. We survey people after every game, and the survey results come back awesome. So people that are coming like it, and they keep coming back. We asked them, so what if we had to do something to enhance your experience, what would that be? And, we need to be selling soccer to people that not necessarily aren't soccer fans. How do we get them to come out? And that's the number one thing that kind of came back to us, was do something about the concessions. So you've seen what we've done with $8 beers and $5 pizzas and $3 pop and juice and popcorn. So it's been awesome in terms of our renewals, what the feedback we've got from fans so far.
And when you look across the professional sports market, obviously Atlanta United and MLS, they've the Atlanta Falcons in the NFL, they've been applauded for
Right.
a very similar move. And is that something that you feel will certainly help move the needle now?
Yeah, I think it is. They're telling us, our fans are telling us right away that is a big deal, and it's going to be a big deal. And I think it helps our fans kind of sell what we're doing as well, right? So we need them to be out in the community, bringing people to Fury soccer games. Atlanta started it, a little bit different situation there, but there's so many things to compete with with sporting dollars, with entertainment right now, that I think that's you need to remove the barriers for people coming. And we know we do a good job with our product, and this just enhances it. We really look forward to what it's going to bring us next year.
All right, quick comment on the game here today.
Was that a foul?
It was a foul. It was.
I was getting a hot dog, but that looked like a foul to me.
Talk about the emotions that you're going through, because I know there's a lot of pride and a lot of passion for you and this team. And just watching you before this interview as the half wore down, as kind of those opportunities came. And
I want it for us, Graham. I want it for us. Our team's, we have struggle scoring goals, but it's not lack of effort, and they want to be in the playoffs. We started in a hole at the start of the year, 0-5, which is hard. I think we had an 8% chance of making the playoffs, and here we are. So I want this game for them, for us, for our fans.
All right, thanks for your time, Mike. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, Graham.
All right, our halftime continues just after this. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
Hey, Impreza. What's new?
Well, I've got this available reverse automatic braking feature.
Oh.
When I reverse, I can automatically brake if I'm about to hit something.
All I do is beep.
Subaru Impreza.
Beep. Ouch.
What do you live for? Is it for your crew? For overcoming obstacles? Live for what you want. So what do you live for?
Did you know the Brick is 100% proudly Canadian? We employ over 5,000 Canadians, and nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. Saving you more. It's not just a slogan. Saving you more is our obsession.
welcome back inside TD Place. Second half action about to get underway shortly as we have a look at our first half highlights brought to you by Budweiser and Gordon. Lots of opportunity for Ottawa Fury FC despite trailing by that 1-0 score.
We're seeing a few of them, and unfortunately there's the one that counts really, in all honesty. The only highlight that really matters on the score sheet, an absolute scorcher by Wild into the top hand corner. The Fury Gagnon Lapare, just a little stab there, he missed out at it. And this ball coming off the crossbar, goalkeeper flapped up it, missed it. And there's Eddie Edward, the free kick that he was taken down. We did see the contact right there. We do see the contact. Obviously, Popovic not happy about it. Portilla's terrific drive, just missing that right-hand post. I think in the end it was a decent save, and then the chance for DeSantos. What piece of skill there. Bicycle effort. May just have been going wide again. The goalkeeper's not to know that, Graham. A spectacular dive across to the right-hand side. So a lot of pressure, a lot of effort. Unfortunately for the Ottawa Fury, just not a lot of reward. And that's where we're sitting right now with 45 minutes left. They've got to get 2 goals, whereas, as we said at the start of the game, 1 goal may have been enough for them.
When you look at that opening 45 minutes, if you were tasked with a plan as to what you wanted that opening half to be like, outside of conceding that 1 goal, I think you have to be quite pleased, because you would say, look, we have to take the game to the opposition. You did that. You got to get not chances, but quality chances. And I think you could count 3, if not 4, quality opportunities on goal from Fury FC in that opening half.
And you look at the stats, I mean, obviously the possession 54%, 46. The recent games we've seen that possession's been tilted in the opposition's favour, Graham. Sometime the Fury coming in around 40, 41% at the half. So a little bit better with regards to possession. I like Carl Haworth's game here this afternoon. I think he's providing lots of work down the right-hand side, whipping in some decent balls. I'd like to see Eddie get a little bit more activated down the left-hand side, Graham. I think that's one area we're maybe missing a little bit, is trying to get Eddie into more advanced positions. He's got the strength, he's got the power to get beyond defenders and whip in a decent ball himself. So if we can, let's get Eddie activated a little bit more into midfield. Portilla's had another strong half for me, and I think that just has to continue. Keep doing what you've been doing that whole first 45 minutes. And Adonijah Reid coming in, Graham, as a few of us had talked about maybe at the half. Adonijah coming in for Lubiera on that left-hand side. And obviously, you know, great news for Adonijah this week, as you'd mentioned. You know, one of the top 20, under 20 players in the USL. And he's got a canvas here to write himself into the history books for the Ottawa Fury this afternoon. He already has showed he can score goals. I think it was a hat-trick he got against New York Red Bulls early on in the season, Graham. He's got to try and just get into this game as quickly as he can, get his head screwed on and know exactly what he needs to do, get that ball at his feet, get beyond the defenders. And if the shot's on, take it. If not, get an option for a teammate. An early corner kick here for the Ottawa Fury.
Yeah, I think Nabil Hackshaw got a piece of that going up for the header against Steven DeSantos. So Christian Portilla takes it over and expected to be whipped in right on target once again as that crowd of bodies again goes to that near post. Portilla whips it in low, takes a deflection off Mayer Giguère, comes to the top of the penalty area, and now Adonijah Reid wins it back for Ottawa. Portilla. Oh, nifty ball there for Reid. Reid, first touch delivery. That one will be cleared away for yet another Ottawa corner.
I really like this substitution here because it's a positive substitution. You're putting on an attacking player, Graham. I thought Lubier in the first 45 minutes just struggled to come to grips with the game. Certainly his inexperience may have worked against him.
Portilla again whips this one in off the arm of Beebe. Now an opportunity for Charleston to clear. Good block there by Tony Taylor. That one into touch for a Charleston throw right near the corner flag. So an opportunity for Ottawa to hem them in. And
wasn't back there, that's for sure.
That was like, what, 15 yards to the advantage there?
And I'm sure, getting back to the substitution, I'm sure Reid wasn't happy about being left on the bench. In the biggest game of the season, Graham, you're sitting on the bench for that first 45 minutes, and I'm sure he was sitting on that chair absolutely stewing. He was not happy about not being out there with his teammates that he's fought and died for the entire season. Now he gets an opportunity. Go out there, son, be the hero, get the job done, get these 2 goals, or set up these 2 goals that the Ottawa Fury are going to need to push themselves into a playoff spot.
Haworth intercepts and has some room to work here. Under pressure, still going is Carl Howarth to Tony Taylor. Howarth making that overlapping run. Gets it, has Hackshaw to deal with. Back in for DeSantos, now Taylor. His delivery blocked by Skylar Thomas and into touch for a throw.
Graham, when Carl Howarth got that ball to 25 yards from goal, there were 4 white shirts completely swarming around him. Charleston are doing a really, really good job of making sure that the players that are going to hurt them are not going to get that opportunity.
Flick on by DeSantos. That one out of the reach of Gagnon Laparé with BB coming off his line quickly.
Good flick on again by DeSantos. He's won a few of those headers here this afternoon, Graham, off a set plays deep inside the Charleston half.
You talk about trying to activate Eddie Edward more down that left side, and the one advantage I think that would play into Ottawa is that gets you away from Naveal Hackshaw, because he has been a rock defensively for Charleston here this afternoon.
He really has, and I think that's been a decent battle between him and DeSantos. As DeSantos comes across to Hackshaw's side of the field, the two of them are having a real tussle so far this afternoon, but I think it's just all about bringing Taylor into the play even a little bit more, and certainly Adonijah Reed into the play here in the second half.
Good work by Tony Taylor, gets goal side of Hackshaw, plays it in, falls to Reed, left-footed strike, oh, just misses wide at the back post. Oh, a great delivery from Tony Taylor, and Adonijah Reed, a left-footed effort, just squeaks wide of the back post.
A terrific interplay by DeSantos and Taylor there, and there it was. It ended up being a yard or so wide, Graham, in the end, but I think that's why you've got Reed on there. He can pull the trigger, he can get a shot away quickly, but what a wonderful run that was by Taylor, getting to the byline, cutting the ball back for Reed. Really good first chance of the second half for the Fury.
Well, 50th minute, Ottawa remains down 1-0, but a very bright start to this second half for Fury, starting the second half much like they finished the first. An effort from Gagnon Laparé, 5 yards wide of the target.
Yeah, a little bit ambitious there by the midfielder. The ball sat up very nicely for him, Graham. 5 yards or so outside the 18-yard box, but I think he may have been better served just looking for DeSantos inside him as he tried to peel away from the defender. But a good, bright start here into the second half for the Ottawa Fury, and it's exactly what you're looking for if you're Coach Popovich. A team that knows what they have to do, Graham. There's no ifs, ands or buts anymore about this. You've got 2 goals to score in 45 minutes. I mean, that's the easy math. You can talk about all the possession stats you want in creating chances. That twine has to be bundled twice for you to even get close into the playoff spot here in 2018.
Powerful header by Mayer Giguère finds its way all the way back into the Charleston penalty area. Beebe throws this one out. Reed applying pressure. That one skied through the midfield. Falls to Victor Mansoret. Mansoret has a man to his right. Mansoret again. This time Candela. Jay Bolt. Bolt delivers that one through. Bobbled momentarily by Crapo as he had to get down on one knee and try and find that through a sea of legs. And now Howarth looks to counter. DeSantos contends with Skylar Thomas, who got a touch. And Charleston remains in possession here inside the Ottawa half. Rittmeyer down that right side. Tries to get beyond Eddie Edward, and he's fouled from behind. Edward, that is, by Rittmeyer. And Ottawa will regain possession deep inside their own half. 52nd minute, 1-0 Charleston.
Well, that was a nice little break there for Charleston going the other way, but we haven't really called Mansoret's name much at all in that first 45 minutes, Graham. We did see him there with that piece of possession just outside the 18-yard box, but it's been a fairly quiet first 45 minutes for a lot of these Charleston players that might be going out there as match winners this afternoon. As it is right now, you've already got one in Wild, and what a match-winning goal that may turn out to be here this afternoon.
Skylar Thomas gets it over to Naveal Hackshaw. Bolt back to Hackshaw. Again to Thomas.
And the ball's played into centre midfield now, and again the Fury just need to try and do a better job of pressing a little bit higher, Graham, and taking the possession of it. A great ball played to Wild now on this outside edge in 18-yard box.
Delivers into the back post. Oh, Svensson sends that one wide. A valiant effort to try and hit that on the volley on the delivery from Gordon Wild at the back post.
Oh,
Svensson just skies that one.
Completely carved open that right-hand side of the Fury back line, though, Graham, and Svensson has to do
Almost
a better
needed
job.
To throw your head at that one
exactly.
as opposed to the boot.
It may have been easier just for a diving header, go for the spectacular, but that really would have put the cat among the pigeons for the Ottawa Fury, Graham, and a second goal would really have been a mountain to climb here this afternoon.
Wild again on the volley, this one missing well wide of the goal.
Now, Wild certainly has been the danger player for the Charleston battery here this afternoon. Certainly Hackshaw at the heart of the defence has played extremely well, but Wild has the all-important goal and a couple of the better chances that have come the way of Charleston early in the second half have been created from the foot of number 15, Gordon Wild.
Tony Taylor tries to cut inside Skylar Thomas. Those long legs able to get a touch before Taylor could break free. And that one goes into touch for an Ottawa throw just in front of the bench. Carl Howarth with that ability for the long throw, directing traffic. Tried to find DeSantos, who was bumped off his perch there by Hackshaw as that battle continues between those two. And we, it's funny, we talked about at the beginning of the game when we're, those are our two players to watch, and just said it'll be an interesting battle to watch, and it's certainly proved very worthy here this afternoon.
Well, I mean, when you're as defensively sound and as physically imposing as Hackshaw is, you've got a player like DeSantos that's just as willing to give it as what he gets. And that has been a very gigantic tussle all afternoon between those two players. Quite fitting a team that's trying to win.
DeSantos in space and just sends that one wide of the back post. Some great work. It must have taken a deflection.
Somebody got a touch there. The referee saw it. I don't think anybody else did. Certainly DeSantos didn't. I don't think he was claiming for it, Graham. He just dragged that shot wide of that left-hand post, but certainly a few Charleston players beside themselves with regards to why that was a corner kick. Doesn't matter, you've got to defend it properly now. And the Fury now with a good opportunity, 10 minutes into the second half, to tie it up.
An opportunity for that left-footed outswinger from Portilla. Doesn't get by the first man at the front post. Ottawa still in possession. Reed goes back out wide to Portilla. Again now to Adonijah Reed. He'll deliver this one through. That one over the head of everyone. Eddie Edward first on it for Ottawa. Has Hackshaw running into him from behind, and now another corner for the Fury. And this time Portilla will be able to whip it in with that left peg. So the set pieces continue to come for Ottawa.
And again, that front post area, Graham, there's no one at the back post to keep the play alive if that's where it goes.
Punched away and for another corner. And, BB hasn't been confident this afternoon trying to catch a ball. He has parried away almost everything at him.
Yeah, I think the one key thing is you may be having trouble with this wind that may be swirling around on Graham. His first instinct there was to take 2 steps towards the ball and then work his way back.
Carl Howarth's turn to whip this one in. That one goes off the top of the crossbar. But a foul called inside the 6-yard box.
Well, it's certainly not for want of trying here this afternoon. The full value to the Ottawa Fury for coming out, certainly in this second half, Graham, and trying to take the game back to Charleston. The smart thing that Charleston are doing, they're just sitting that deep spot, and they're trying to hit on the counter. And on a couple of chances, once down the right, certainly once down the left here, they've got the back 4 out for the Ottawa Fury, and you've just got to be very, very wary. Continue playing your system and your tactics the way you are for these next 10, 15, 20 minutes.
Adonijah Reed looking for more for Ottawa here. Cuts inside. Reed still going.
Penalty.
Goes down.
No.
No foul called. Play carries on. Laparé gets it in. That one headed away.
Free kick against the Santos. The head's caught there. But what a glorious effort that was by Adonijah Reid. Again, all sorts of trickery, all sorts of skill. Here he is outside the 18-yard box. Dips his shoulder, cuts inside a 2. Oh, I don't know. When you go to ground, it always looks a lot worse, the game. I thought the trailing right leg did get the ball, but it's just what happened to Adonijah. Here we see it. I've seen them given, and I've seen them not given. In that case, it was not given. It worked against the Ottawa Fury in that case. But again, as a defender, going to ground, you're going to give the referee a decision to make. And unfortunately for the Ottawa Fury, it went against them there. But Pofic, not happy at all. He certainly felt that was a penalty kick that wasn't given. Certainly with the Eddie Edward one outside the box earlier on, not happy that wasn't given. The Fury might just be getting a little bit frustrated, Graham, that some of these big calls just aren't going their way here today.
Well, nothing has come easy to them this season, so why should the regular season finale be any different?
Well, good point.
Well, quite the unique challenge there from Carl Howard. Threw his whole body into that challenge against Victor Mansouri, and that one goes into touch.
That wouldn't have looked out of place in Milwaukee last night, that slide there, would it? He would have been safe anyway.
Hackshaw looking for an option. Long throw on him too, headed away by Thomas Mayer-Giguère. And a good work by Gagnon Laparé to do the rest of the work with Gordon Wild there looking for that loose ball. We've seen 2 efforts from him today on the volley. One, the only goal of the game. The other came dangerously close. That had to be, a great save from Crapo and tapped it on the goal line. I'll say this, I think that was out of bounds on the far touch side before that was delivered in. But the Charleston Battery here in the 60th minute have taken a lead, and seeing that replay now, no, that was still in play. A great first save from Crapo. Svantesson with the rebound in the 60th minute. And now lots of work to be done for Ottawa Fury FC.
The ball checked up Graham, and it completely took away Obasi with the spin as he tried to hook a left foot at it. And unfortunately for the fullback turn stopper this afternoon, it ended up behind him, and it went 2-0 for Svantesson to put the ball into the back of the net and really make it an uphill climb here. Now this afternoon, with 30 minutes left to go, you just take a look at the substitutions bench. Who have you got on there you can possibly pull in? You've only got one other experienced striker, number 11 Daniel Haber, that can possibly come in, Graham, with experience enough in these type of games to possibly help pull it out. But you now need 3 goals to push yourself into a playoff spot, and it is going to be a very, very big ask for the Ottawa Fury here. They have had the better of the chances. They've had the better of chances in so many games over the course of this season, Graham. But unfortunately, it's another great opportunity. Wild going forward. He's got man open overlap on the far side. Wild, a great effort. Just drives the ball off the joint of the post and the crossbar, and it will be Crapo trying quickly to get things started for the Ottawa Fury the other way. Here we see Wild's effort. That's a decent strike as he drove into the attacking third, Graham, and you know, I mean, this second goal has knocked the stuffing right out of the Ottawa Fury with regards to, it's like a bubble, a balloon with the air getting burst out of it. It really has crushed the spirit, I think, of the Ottawa Fury.
Great run by Mansouri down that left side as he gets beyond both Carl Howarth and before that Chris Manila. Portilla back to help out. Crapo with the long boot forward. And again, Hackshaw first there, but Ottawa back in possession. This one played over the top, looking for Reid. Takes a funny skip off the turf for him. Reid maintains possession. Now Christian Portilla. Laparé to Taylor. Taylor brought down, falls to Laparé, but now the foul gets called. And a dangerous set piece, and this is going to be the debate, Carl Howarth or Christian Portilla, but I think the Fury captain is the one who wants this.
Oh, it's 28 yards from goal, Graham. It's a bit of a distance. Carl usually prefers it to be around 23, 24 yards, and he gets the ball up and down over the wall, but The captain has just said, no, step aside. I'm the one taking this right now. He puts the ball confidently down. And if ever the captain needs to step up and put the ball into the back of the net, it's right now for the Ottawa Fury.
Howard's delivery. Oh, a great save by Beebe to punch that one away. A goal-bound effort from the Fury captain. Denied by a great save from Robert Beebe.
It really was. I mean, he struck it well. It was wide of the wall, curling back around, and the goalkeeper, again, he's looking right into the sun, Graham, and that's always a difficult end early in the afternoon for goalkeepers to make stops. You can see his hand up in front of his face right now, but what a terrific save that was. And it's now Charleston breaking down the other way, a ball played into the edge of the 18-yard box. Goalkeeper Crepeau comes out for it in the end to make the stop. But here we see this free kick. Carroll right-footed up and around the wall. That definitely appeared to be going into that top-hand corner, Graham. And a wonderful save by Beebe to keep this score line at 2-0.
Howarth's effort takes a deflection. That will go into touch for an Ottawa throw. And the captain again now sets to take the long throw in for the Fury. DeSantos goes up, falls loose to the back post. Nobody there for Ottawa, allowing Charleston the opportunity to clear. Eddie Edward heads that one down for Adonijah Reed. Reed in for Laparé. Out wide now for Eddie Edward. This one delivered in. That one headed away. Hawkshaw just chests it down now to Beebe.
Yeah, I think Eddie was probably a little bit disappointed there that on that flick into the back post, there was really no one in a black and red shirt, Graham, that decided to get forward and get into that, just take a risk area. And unfortunately for the Ottawa Fury, again, another somewhat promising ball into the box has just fallen by the wayside again.
65th minute here at TD Place. Charleston Battery leading by a 2-0 score. Gordon Wild and Ian Svantesson, the two goal scorers for the visiting Battery.
Yeah, I think free kick given against Cara there, just holding his ground.
Jay Bolt on the left side delivers this one in. Svantesson gets a touch. Good effort and a good save by Maxime Crepeau. The Battery still in possession, although Mansouri can't win that battle against Tony Taylor. Mansouri fouls Taylor right at midfield. Woodbine's clearance attempt. That one ends up now finding Tony Taylor. Oh, a dangerous challenge there by Jay Bolt. He's lucky he didn't make any contact, and Carl Howarth in for the hard challenge.
Oh, Carl's hurt.
That looked not very comfortable at all. I don't know if he's just winded himself on the play.
Yeah.
And you hope that's all it is for the Fury captain.
Well, I thought at first it was just two players that were just going in, fully committed, Graham, and unfortunately Carl has come off worse for wear. And the referee just trying to not have the physio come on, that he doesn't have to have Carl go off after being seen to. So looking to keep things going for the Ottawa Fury here, but time is slowly but surely running away from them, Graham. We're inside the final 23 minutes now of the 90.
Onawol Bassi. Now to Thomas Meyer-Giguère. Meyer-Giguère. That cross takes a deflection. Good work by Stephen to, or rather make that Tony Taylor to maintain possession for Ottawa. DeSantos flicks that one on. Laparé brings that one down. And the ball skips up and catches him in the arm, so foul called. 68th minute. Ottawa trailing by 2 goals here. Still 20 plus minutes to work, but Those chances that we've seen for some time now need to be converted, and they've certainly had their opportunities on the day. 10 corners, 5 in each half.
Well, 3 goals is not beyond the realm of possibility for the Fury here, Graham. They have scored 3 goals at least 3 different times over the course of the season, but to do it inside 22, 23 minutes is really going to be an awful lot to ask for. I just wonder now, is that a case where you've got to get every single attacking player that you've got on the bench, get them out there? Daniel Hebert, possibly get Jamar Dixon in as well, look to use his power as well in central midfield to try and get the ball forward to the lads up front, because whether you lose 2-0 or as it stands right now or 22-0, it's not going to make an ounce of difference, Graham. You've got to get goals.
Nabil Hackshaw clears that one out. Sven Tesson first under it. Now an opportunity to break for the Charleston Battery. Well done by Adonijah Reed to get back and win back possession for Ottawa. Portilla now to Eddie Edward on the left side. Bring it back over to the right side now for Carl Howarth. Manella in behind Tony Taylor, and that will allow Charleston to take over on the throw deep inside their own half. And you can see Jay Bolt, we talked about it early in that first half, sometimes him dropping back to form that back four for Charleston, and now he seems a bit more firmly planted, you know, into that position at that left back spot.
Well, I think they recognise the danger of Carl Howarth coming down this side, Graham, and they did make the odd adjustment every once in a while to try and stem that flow of Carl getting down into good attacking positions by bringing Bolt into that left back position.
Howarth's long throw, that one headed away. Jay Bolt first under it now. Obasi waiting for that. Heads it forward to Chris Manella. Gets a tug from behind, but play carries on. Manella in possession now to Howarth. His pass intercepted. He takes a hard bump from behind.
Free kick.
There'll be a free kick right on the touchline.
And that was silly. There was absolutely no need to do that. All you've now is allowed Obasi and Meyer-Giguère the opportunity to make their way up to the edge of the 18-yard box. So a bit of a blood rush to the head there by Kelly Rosales.
Falls to the back post. Meyer-Giguère forced to go back now for Obasi. Gets down that left side and takes a touch, but that will go off Obasi last. And out for a goal kick. 71st minute. Charleston Battery 2 goals to the better here in the regular season finale. And it's been a tough scoreline to look at for Fury fans here this afternoon, knowing that only 3 points will give you hopes of getting into the USL postseason. And plenty of work to be done here.
And obviously 2 squads I would expect watching this game here this afternoon in Nashville and Bethlehem, knowing that Charleston have possibly done their job for them this afternoon in stopping the Fury from picking up all 3 points, which would, again, outside of an absolutely monumental collapse and terrific scoreline for North Carolina in their game, coming up later on, North Carolina at Charlotte, they would need to probably win by about, I would say, 4 or 5 goals and hope that Bethlehem drop a bunch of goals in their loss to have any chance. Well, they would automatically tie Bethlehem. They would be tied on, Bethlehem, they would be tied on wins, Graham.
Carl Howarth in space down that right side, picks out Adonijah Reed, tries to head it down for Steven DeSantos, and Skylar Thomas was first there to clear that one away.
Penalty kick.
There's a penalty right there. Adonijah.
Oh, what's he given?
Called a goal kick.
A goal kick. Well, we'll like to see that again, but
I'm not sure what happened to Adonijah Reed.
No.
He went down and
yeah. Here we see it. Oh,
it was a firm boot that he got.
It really was.
And that's O'Brien Woodbine, the former Fury defender.
I think that's what Popovich is asking the fourth official. There was no contact there at all with the ball, so if the only contact he made was with Adonijah Reed, why isn't that a penalty kick? Kyle Haworth involved there as well in the discussion as captain. He likes to know what's going on. Well, again, full value to Charleston for coming in here this afternoon and not mailing it in. I mean, the lads that have come in to the starting lineup for the coach have obviously said, listen, we're not just making up the numbers. We want to be given an opportunity ourselves to get a starting role. And I think over the course of the first 73 minutes we've had anyway, they've defended well, certainly. Nabil Hackshaw at the heart of that back three has done a terrific job against Dos Santos, and the fact that the two players we were asking to keep an eye on have been face to face has really highlighted how much of a fighting tooth and nail job this has been this afternoon.
Intercepted there by the battery. Thomas Meyer-Giguère, work to do here with Mansouri, and just another useless foul from Victor Mansouri. That's the third one of the match now from him.
Yeah, but it's 70 yards from goal, Graham. You'd rather do it then than do it close to your own end, and it just kills a few more seconds. It lets you get back into your defensive shape, and if the referee's not taking any action, if, as you said, it was his third time, it really should be a yellow card getting pulled out, right? Well, Carl's wide open here. He switched off. It wasn't quick enough. Yeah, he knew it. He had all sorts of space down there, Graham, if it had been played quickly.
Portia's delivery. Immediately headed away. Falls to Adonijah Reed. As he battles with his man. Now it finds Mansouri. Plays it in the middle. Intercepted by Portia. Calmly slots it over to Eddie Edward. Eddie Edward again in possession. Back to Portia. Firm pass to Tony Taylor. Taylor now to Adonijah Reed. Reed delivers this one in, takes a deflection, and that will win Ottawa yet another corner kick. And surely you think that they have to do something
with one of them,
on these corners. 10 on the match so far, 5 in the first, 5 already here in the second half. This is number 11. Delivered in. Skylar Thomas first under it. And that one headed away and into touch for an Ottawa throw. Long throw, falls to Reed. There's a shot. Oh, another great save by Beebe. And look, in the first half, shaky at times, but has he ever risen to the occasion here in this second half? Another big save from the Charleston goalkeeper on a close effort from Adonijah Reed, who struck that firmly on the volley.
But again, it came from a terrific flick on by Steven Dos Santos. That's been on all afternoon, Graham. Anytime we've had these throw-ins around the 18-yard box, Adonijah Reed hit it very well, hit it sweetly. Just unfortunately, the goalkeeper was perfectly placed. Spilled it right enough on the first shot. Was able to gather up any rebound to make sure there wasn't a second shot coming in, but as much as the Fury continue to pound away, Graham, here, 13 and a half minutes left to go, it's, let's not underline the fact more so that they need us a slack ball.
Opportunity here for Gordon Wild, and had to contend with Obasi, and the rest of the work taken care of by Maxime Crapo.
Yeah,
back in possession.
Obasi had made the first mistake, Graham, but he did well to get back and make sure that it wasn't going to be punished for a third goal here this afternoon.
Chris Manella, Carl Haworth, Christian Portia. Now Eddie Edward. Eddie Edward cuts inside, goes down, no foul called, and that one cleared into touch for an Ottawa throw. Obasi. Thomas Meyer-Giguère. Manila. DeSantos. Santos. Delivers this one in, and that one cleared away. Santos will have to work to keep this in play. Hackshaw does well for Charleston. Falls to the feet of Chris Manila. Big collision there. Gives way to Gagnon Laparé. Pushes it back to Portilla. Howarth is wide in space. Receives it. Looks for an option. Howarth. To Reed. Back to Howarth. Now to Eddie Edward. Has work to do to keep it in play. And the flag goes up. Unable to do so. Now out for a goal kick. 79th minute. Here at TD Place. Ottawa trailing the Charleston Battery by a 2-0 score. Here in the regular season finale. Wild in the 14th minute. Svantesson in the 60th minute has the visitors ahead.
Sergio Menesio now coming in for the Ottawa Fury. Looks like Onua Obasi will be going off for Coach Popovich as we see these final 12 minutes plus time added on, off Obasi.
Well, ball headed through two players, and Adonijah Reed late getting to that back post, and Beebe was already there.
And again, DeSantos winning the first header against Hackshaw. So the big striker for the Fury this afternoon certainly has won his fair share of headers, Graham, to try and keep plays alive inside the 18-yard box. Just unfortunately, none of them, if maybe one or two, have been falling to a black and a red shirt inside that box.
Wild in possession. Plays that one wide. It's Charleston, who have been just content to hit things on the counter here this afternoon. Now in possession here as they move it around really for the first time in probably about 7 or 8 minutes. Svantesson unable to get that one, but Meyer-Giguère forced to knock that one out for a Charleston corner.
Looks like Ottawa's gone to a back three now. Eddie Edwards come into the middle. Meyer-Giguère is in the middle of that back three, and as we said, number 6 that just came on, Sergio Menesio, has taken up the right side of a back three, so it looks like almost a 3-4-3 formation now for the Ottawa Fury as they try to push forward and get what at least would be a consolation goal before the match ends.
Headed away by Portilla, and then that one skied well high and wide. 81st minute. As Ottawa still look for that first goal for themselves of the match. Trailing by 2, needing 3. And I have no idea what the club record is for the fastest 3 goals, but I'm quite confident if that happens here today.
It's going to be this.
Do you care if it's a record or not?
No,
you're in.
It doesn't matter. And obviously the problem for the Fury is going to be as they push for whatever goals they can get here this afternoon. Now with a back three, an unfamiliar back three, Graham, players that haven't really played in those positions over the course of a season, there may be all sorts of gaps in the channels between them to stream in on goal on Maxime Crépeau. And over the course of the 90 minutes, I honestly can't think of an awful lot of stops that Crépeau has had to make. I think the 2 times he's been involved most of this game is picking the ball out the back of the net.
Tony Taylor called for the foul on Skylar Thomas as the two battled for the ball.
Yeah, Thomas
Taylor
just had position on him, eh?
Had position and then got the arms wrapped around him. Good rugby tackle, though.
It was. So we've seen a baseball slide tackle, we've seen a rugby tackle. What other sports are we going to see this afternoon?
Oh, a nasty challenge on.
Caught late.
Meyer-Giguère. Play carries on. And Meyer-Giguère remains down Now back up and says to the fourth official, that's twice. That was Fantessen who clipped him there. Now Reed bodied off the ball there, and that went out for a goal kick. And now Yusri Rudolph will go back to Fantessen, and certainly will get a yellow card for that challenge. Portilla to Lapare. Crépeau. His clearance headed back into the Ottawa half, but Manila now takes over. Sergio Minicio. Brought down by Steven DeSantos. Carl Howarth now. Flicks it back to DeSantos. Hackshaw to watch. Back to Howarth. Gets it under control. Cuts inside. Howarth still going. Howarth into the penalty area. Wrapped up by Hackshaw. Play carries on. Lapare. His delivery. And Adonijah Reed will get that loose ball. Reed. His delivery. Finds DeSantos. Headed back through the penalty area. Looking for Portilla at the top. And now Ottawa will have to reset through Thomas Mayer-Giguère. Now Minicio. Part of that back three that includes himself and Eddie Edward. Daniel Lapare with an effort from distance. That one missing wide of goal.
Yeah, again, it opened up nicely for them, but not being closed down by anyone. And as the ball broke inside, you know, he's got a good 5 or 6 yard, Graham, that he could possibly even have gone forward more before he was getting closed down. But in the end, the ball well wide of that right-hand post.
Hackshaw heads that one away. Howarth. Back for Chris Manella. Now Steven DeSantos. To Tony Taylor. Taylor turns his man. Now Carl Howarth, rather make that Manella. Now it's Howarth. Manella to Minicio. Lapare. Back to Chris Manella. Takes the touch, tries to deliver this one through. Easily caught by Beebe, who was able to catch that completely uncontested in the 6-yard box.
Yeah, just
Mark Dixon set to come in for Ottawa here, as hearing that it'll be in place of Chris Manila. And now defensive work to do for Fury FC as Charleston back in possession.
That sub will take place now. As we said, Jamar Dixon, number 22, will come in for number 5, Chris Manella. So a midfielder for midfielder. Again, with this 3-4-3 formation, you probably want to make sure you get some fresh legs out there for the final push inside the last 5, possibly 6 or 7 minutes of the Ottawa Fury season. Well, it's been a fairly valiant effort here, Graham, this afternoon. I thought in the first half, the Fury looked good. It stops and starts, but when you went behind in the 14th minute, it was always going to be an uphill battle, and you're looking around saying, where are the 2 goals going to come from? And unfortunately, they haven't come here this afternoon at all for the Ottawa Fury.
And the man who put this game truly out of reach, I think, for Ottawa, Ian Fantessen, big 6'6" striker, he comes off in place of Patrick Okonkwo. Reed with a nifty spin there to get away from some pressure. Reed in for Taylor, back to Reed. And Reed is fouled here. And that was by Nicholas Rittmeyer.
Well, everybody making their way into the box. Minicio just sort of pointed back at who's covering back at centre midfield for us, because we're all pushing up into the box, but Gagnon Lapare has dropped back. Portilla has dropped back as well, albeit one of them's 30 yards from goal, the other one's 40 yards from goal. Crepeau's crept up all the way almost to central midfield now. All hands to the pump for Charleston. Everyone inside that box.
Howard sets to deliver. There's a header at the near post, takes a deflection. That will go out for a goal kick. Went low for Thomas Meyer-Giguère.
Well, we'll look back over the last little while, Graham, and there we see Meyer-Giguère with that header well wide. You look back to that game at Louisville Slugger Field when the Fury lost 4-0 that evening. Fair enough, Louisville were the far better of the two teams. But to me, it was the two red cards that were given to Atacora and Oliveira that really made it an uphill climb for you. Yes, you got back on the horse the next game and you won 1-0 at Lamport Stadium against Toronto FC. I'll finish that thought in a second.
Ball misses everyone now. Great opportunity for Ottawa to counter here with 5 white shirts forward. Adonijah Reed looking for DeSantos. That one knocked away by Skylar Thomas. Gagnon Lapare keeps the pressure alive for Ottawa. Waits for support, finds Tony Taylor, back to Gagnon Lapare. Reed dummies that one nicely for Jamar Dixon. Now Carl Haworth. Charleston back reset in their own half. His delivery will miss everyone, and Reed tries to keep it alive at the back post. Instead draws a foul, and Charleston will take over. And while we have a minute here as we get closer to the 90th minute, want to thank all of the crew that has made the Fury FC broadcast possible this season. Blake McDonald, Rob Marchand, Nicole Saint-Amand, Sonia Navarrete, Joel Empey, Alex Haslam, our producer Mike Sutherland, Tyler McDonald, who's been our sideline reporter throughout the course of this season, couldn't be with us today. AJ Jackieback, who has broadcast duties with TSN 1200 in Edmonton today as the Red Blacks are visiting the Eskimos. Gord, always a pleasure being back in the saddle with you. We've called games, Fury games, for a very long time together, back to the PDL days. It's been a fun season. Would love to be able to have playoff soccer to call with you, but we'll get back to it next season. Portilla.
I've been told, Graham, 2 minutes being added on after the 90 have been played, so not much longer for the Ottawa Fury to finish out their 2018 season here on an unfortunate note outside of the playoffs here in 2018.
Adonijah Reed looking for DeSantos. There's a header right on target. BB down to make the save, and he'll take some extra seconds while he's there. And don't forget that following today's broadcast, you can head over to the Ottawa Fury FC Facebook channel for our Facebook Live post-game show. We'll hear from Fury FC head coach Nikola Popovic. I would imagine Captain Carl Haworth. And obviously digest today's performance, but also the 2018 season. Menicio heads that one down for Haworth. Looking for Gagnon Lapare. That was a high boot, so a foul will be called here. And an opportunity for a free kick here from Fury FC. With 40 seconds of stoppage time left of the 2 minutes awarded. Hours delivery. Header from Meyer-Giguère, then takes a deflection now for an Ottawa corner. And Christian Portilla will come over to take what could be the final corner kick of the season for Ottawa, their 12th of the match. Portilla whips it in. That one misses the hands of Beebe. And everyone in black and red. Ottawa still pushing for that goal. That one cleared away, and the final whistle draws to conclusion today's match and the season for Ottawa Fury FC. Ending on a very unfortunate note as you see the ejection on the captain, Carl Haworth, as this team falls 2-0. And as tough as it is, Gord, I think today's performance, today's results, I think it really captures the entire 2018 campaign in one match for Ottawa, because this is a team that I think they have a lot of the tools that they need. Defensively strong, didn't really give up much, if anything. You could say that second goal was a gift to luck. The first goal was just a thing of brilliance from your opposing striker.
Out of this
they
world,
didn't give up really anything, but controlled good chunks of this match and produced opportunity after opportunity. 12 corner kicks, 7 free kicks from within 35 yards. And when you look at all those opportunities and you still end up with a goose egg on the board, I think that, again, tells you a lot about why the result is the way it was today. But that was what we saw throughout the course of
I
the
think
34
you're right. I mean,
matches this season.
You know, basically since we did the first home game here at TD Place right through, I think a lot of games have been entertaining. A lot of games have been exciting. Some have been downright dour, has to be said. But I think overall the bigger picture is, I think de Guzman and Popovich will be able to identify what areas need to be strengthened. We could talk about that more at the Facebook Live show later on. But I think what happened here this afternoon, huffed, puffed, couldn't blow the house down. That's exactly what the entire 2018 season basically was all about.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back with our man of the match, some post-match analysis before we head into the Facebook Live post-match show. Again, the final score from TD Place here this afternoon: Ottawa Fury FC 0, the Charleston Battery 2. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
Gabriel Pizza, proud supporter of local sports. Gabriel Pizza, home of the bigger, better pizza. 310 7777 or GabrielPizza.com.
Did you know the Brick is 100% proudly Canadian? We employ over 5,000 Canadians, and nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. Saving you more. It's not just a slogan. Saving you more is our obsession.
What do you live for? Is it for your crew? For overcoming obstacles? Live for what you want. So what do you live for?
Welcome back inside TD Place. Regular season finale in the books as Ottawa Fury FC fall 2-0 to the visiting Charleston Battery, and that brings to conclusion their second season in the United Soccer League. Well, they had us right down to the wire, and unfortunately they fall 2-0. Before we get into our analysis, we'll have a look at our man of the match. And you know, so many of the opportunities, so many of the chances, so much of the energy that came from the Fury side this afternoon came from the man who is our man of the match, the guy who wears the captain's armband in 2018 for Ottawa, the longest serving player in club history, Carl Howarth.
I think if you're handing out nicknames, Mr. Fury is exactly Carl Howarth. He embodies everything that you would want, not only in a captain but in a Fury player. He's good in the community. He's out there every single game. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He's out there as if his life depends on every single breath he takes out on that park. And for his performance here this afternoon, I think especially early in that first half when he was getting good width down the park, he was getting good balls into the box, and he just kept driving. He just kept trying to go forward. He willed everyone forward this afternoon. Unfortunately, just a hill too far for them. Couldn't get the job done, but Carl Howarth, our player of the game here this afternoon.
Yeah, fantastic performance from the Fury captain here today. And as you say, just unfortunately couldn't get the job done despite the effort that we saw throughout the course of 90 minutes. We'll get into the stats and breaking things down more and a look ahead maybe to the offseason and next year. in the Facebook Live post-match show momentarily, but just your overall thoughts on the 90 minutes from Ottawa here today in a game that, knowing coming into it, you needed goals and you needed a win. You needed the 3 points to get into the playoffs.
Well, when you think back 2 weeks ago to the game against Bethlehem, again in the game where you dominated a lot of the chances, you dominated the midfield third, you dominated in the attacking third at times, you just couldn't score. Here this afternoon was almost the exact same script, wasn't it? The only difference was you gave up a wonder goal to Weil. And again, we're going to be seeing that over and over and over again, because what a fantastic strike it was. And then the sucker punch, the second goal, that really took the fury out of it. And it was just a case of seeing out the final 20 minutes of the match. But I think, again, it was a type of performance that you like to see from the Fury. Good possession, tries to break into the attacking third, get the balls wide, and then get it into the box. I think, again, just to finish off on the point that I had earlier on, that game against Louisville, the 4-0 loss, forget the 3 points. It was a loss of Atacora and a loss of Oliveira, because you had to shift your defence over the course of the final 3 games for the loss of Atacora. And you never ever could find that magic rhythm in central midfield, flair that Oliveira brings over the course of 90 minutes to a team, and that just wasn't replaced, unfortunately, in these final 3 games. You won 1, you drew 1, ultimately you lost 1, and only getting 4 points out of 9 in the end really was not going to be enough for you.
All right, we will chat plenty more about today's result, the season that was, the off-season to come for Ottawa Fury FC in our Facebook Live post-match show coming up in moments on the Fury FC Facebook page. Again, the final score from TD Place here this afternoon, Ottawa Fury FC 0, the Charleston Battery 2. For our producer Mike Sutherland, our entire crew, and Gordon Smith, I'm Graham Ivory. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This has been Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.